Hey folks, Jordan with the Young Turks and TYT Politics coming to you live from my kitchen. I know some of you don't like my kitchen, but what are you going to do? Working on a studio in New York City for me and other Young Turks reporters and commentators. But until then, hey, what's wrong with a little meal with Jordan? So I was on vacation for 2 weeks. There's a lot to talk about, but I wanted to get into something about Bernie Sanders. Obviously, I've been open since I've been with the Young Turks and reporting for TYT Politics. Personally, I admire Bernie Sanders. I supported Bernie Sanders. I don't hide it, unlike the neutral corporate media who stand like this and pretend to be robot journalists. I'm open that I support Bernie Sanders. However, if something needs to be said critical of Bernie Sanders, I will say it because he's not a saint. Not always is he making the right move, and occasionally it needs to be called out, even to people that we admire, if they're making the wrong moves. So I think Senator Sanders obviously awoke a sleeping beast in America. Millennials who either weren't involved with politics in the first place or were cynical about politics and got involved and energized because of him. Senator Sanders, frankly, he would have beat Donald Trump. I think he would have killed Donald Trump. I think that the exit polls and the data support that. I think if it was Bernie Sanders versus Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders beats Donald Trump in Michigan. Bernie Sanders beats Donald Trump in Wisconsin. Bernie Sanders beats Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. I think Bernie Sanders beats Donald Trump in Florida, and Bernie Sanders is president on Friday. But we can't keep looking in the rearview mirror. Got to look at right now. So Senator Sanders, a lot of hardcore progressives have had a criticism of him that he's trying to change the Democratic Party from within. And they don't feel that the Democratic Party, which is a corporate, sold out group of people who talk in platitudes about being the party of the working people and then go have fundraisers at night with the people who are screwing the working people. Hillary Clinton in a nutshell. So Senator Sanders, in my eyes, the things he's doing is trying to play patty cakes and play nice with the corporate Democratic establishment, thinking that he's going to somehow bring the corporate Democratic establishment over to our side, the progressive side. And I got news for Senator Sanders, who I respect and I admire. It ain't going to happen, Bernie. You're not going to rewire the brains of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Cory Booker, who I was on vacation when he did that despicable thing where he did not vote for imports of lower prescription drugs. Emma did some great reporting on that on TYT Politics. Go check it out. Cory Booker's a whole nother video. He's a disgrace. He's done. No chance in 2020. Goodbye. Now, Bernie Sanders, if you weren't paying attention, on Sunday held a rally in Warren, Michigan. 8,000 people came out on an off-election year on a bitterly cold day in Michigan, and they weren't coming to see Chuck Schumer speak. Bernie was on the same stage as Chuck Schumer. 8,000 people came out. So when people say, oh, Bernie would have lost to Trump, he got 8,000 people out on a random Sunday. There's no election going on. This is Bernie Sanders in Michigan, where Hillary Clinton lost. So he would have beat Trump. But anyway, so where I think Bernie has the right message, clearly he has the right message. He's been fighting for 40 years. He's that same broken record, but he's the right record, and he makes sweet music. He fights against income inequality. He fights for social justice, environmental justice, to stop the money funneling to these oligarchs at the top. But the bottom line is, how are you going to stop the money funneling to the top if you're sharing the same stage with people that are helping to funnel that money to the top? This isn't something where I personally am against Chuck Schumer or personally I'm against Hillary Clinton. I don't know Chuck Schumer from a hole in the wall, okay? I don't care about Chuck Schumer. But I know what Chuck Schumer stands for politically. So not only is it, to me, this isn't about morals, whether it's right or wrong ethically or morally for Bernie Sanders to stand on stage with Chuck Schumer, because I'm not the morality police. And I think sometimes as a progressive movement, it's dangerous if you look at the world through black or white lenses. Bernie Sanders has to compromise sometimes with the likes of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. Bernie Sanders will have to do business with corporate Democrats at times. So I'm not saying that totally, in all cases, Bernie Sanders should not breathe the same air or share the same stage with Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi or Cory Booker, because that's not realistic. However, there is compromising where you agree, and then there is legitimizing folks that do not deserve to be legitimized. So, when Bernie Sanders stands on stage with Chuck Schumer on Sunday at a Save Obamacare rally, personally, I don't think Obamacare is great, but I do think it's worth saving because the alternative to Obamacare is the system before, which featured, you're shit out of luck, health insurance. If you have a pre-existing condition, you're out of luck. The system is not perfect. I believe in single payer, but it's better than what was before. So I agree with Bernie Sanders and to credit Chuck Schumer for trying to defend Obamacare from these radical Republicans trying to destroy it and repeal it. However, when Bernie Sanders stands on stage with Chuck Schumer at a rally to defend Obamacare, you know what that does strategically? To the non-political junkie, not people like you and I, but to the less politically astute people that end up deciding elections, the people who just tune in and out to politics every 4 years, really paying attention only when it affects them. They don't watch news all the time. It makes it look like, oh, this guy Chuck Schumer is not bad. Oh, these corporate Democrats are fighting for us. So in 4 years, when the country predictably turns on the orange orangutan President Trump, who I'm going to get to in separate videos, when you're sharing stage with Chuck Schumer, you are legitimizing Chuck Schumer. You are giving off the impression that Chuck Schumer is fighting for all the things you're fighting for. Because people don't think in nuanced ways. People don't look on stage at Chuck Schumer, or let's say Bernie ends up standing with Cory Booker one day, or Nancy Pelosi. They don't look at that and say, oh, well, at least he's fighting for us on healthcare, but he's a shill in everywhere else. Most people aren't that politically intelligent. Most people aren't that politically involved, where they know that Chuck Schumer has taken nearly $13 million from Wall Street in his 18-year career. So Chuck Schumer was the chair of the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee from 2005 to 2009. During that time, contributions from Wall Street to the Democrats skyrocketed 50%, while Chuck Schumer was the chair. You think Wall Street was giving an additional 50% of money to Democrats just because they love Chuck Schumer? No, they were doing it because Chuck Schumer is their puppet. So when Bernie stands on stage with Chuck Schumer, when Bernie does business with Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Cory Booker, Steny Hoyer, W. Wasserman Schultz, don't even get me started, he is legitimizing those figures. And he is allowing Chuck Schumer and the corporate Democrats to rehabilitate their brand, where Bernie's basically doing it for them. Because make no mistake about it, Bernie Sanders is the most popular, and he is the leader of the Democratic Party, whether he's even a Democrat or not. I know those on MSNBC say, he's not even a Democrat, oh my! I don't care if he represents the Marshmallow Party. Bernie Sanders, right now, is the most popular politician in America. And it's not even close. Donald Trump is actually the most unpopular politician in America by the polls, and he's about to be president. So that's how this system works. But Bernie, I think his message is right, but when you surround yourself, when you give up the impression that you and Chuck Schumer are fighting for the same things, you're legitimizing Chuck Schumer. So what happens, my friends, in 2 years when Donald Trump, his poll numbers are down into the teens or the 20s, which I predict will happen. In 3 years, when the candidates are starting to announce for 2020, what happens? You make Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, the corporate Democratic establishment, who are not changing their ways. You think they've rejected calls from Wall Street, big oil, and big pharma since Hillary Clinton lost? They're still taking those calls, and they're still having fundraisers with those people. You're making them the protagonists in this movie of taking out the evil boogeyman, President Trump. That's what Bernie Sanders is doing by sharing the stage with Chuck Schumer. And again, the world is not black or white. On occasion, Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer might want the same thing. To Chuck Schumer's credit, he endorsed Keith Ellison for DNC chair. So you got to give credit to the establishment when they do the right thing. Why did Chuck Schumer endorse Keith Ellison for DNC chair. Was it political calculus? Of course it was. But at least he did the right thing, so I'll give him a point there. However, there is playing nice with people you disagree with because they are helping drive your policy position forward. And then there is playing nice with people who are on stage with you and you're making them look good. You're making them look like they're progressive fighters for the working Joe, while they then, the same night or the same week or the same month, go and do business with the special interests you're trying to put an end to. That's what Chuck Schumer's doing. That's what the corporate Democratic establishment is doing when it comes to Bernie Sanders. They're just using him when his use and value is at the highest. That's why instead of appointing Bernie Sanders to an already established position in the Democratic Senate leadership, they created a new position for Bernie Sanders called Outreach Chair. Let me tell you what Outreach Chair is. Bernie Sanders, if you were in a fraternity or sorority, he's like the social chair. He sets up the parties, the frat parties. He gets the girls out to the parties. That's what Bernie Sanders is for the Democratic Party right now. I'm not trying to disrespect Senator Sanders at all, but I'm telling you, Bernie Sanders right now is the Democratic Party's weapon to get young people out to see Chuck Schumer. Bernie Sanders is the Democratic Party's weapon now to help them fundraise with young people and try to galvanize young people and disgruntled, not disgruntled, that's the wrong word, but older progressives who are done with the corporate Democratic establishment. They are using Bernie Sanders to try and rehabilitate their brand. But as I wrote in a piece, it's on my Facebook, the headline is Bernie Sanders has the right message, but the wrong strategy. Basically, the corporate Democratic establishment's car is broken down right now. The parts have fallen out, the axle's broken, the brake pads don't work. By standing on stage with Chuck Schumer to save Obamacare or whatever other stages Senator Sanders stands on stage with, and replace Chuck Schumer with Nancy Pelosi or Cory Booker or whomever Senator Sanders is going to be standing with, you're repairing their vehicle for them. And when they're done with you, Bernie, they're going to accelerate, they're going to open the door, and they're going to toss your ass in a muddy ditch on their way back to power. Save this video, because that's what's going to happen. And I see the trolls already. Oh, Jordan, you're just a Bernie bro, and you're angry. Some of you are making fun of my beard. How dare you? I think it looks very nice and disheveled. But, again, the world is not black or white. I don't have a problem that Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer are both want to protect Obamacare. It's not just about the fact that Bernie Sanders stood on stage with Chuck Schumer at a rally. If that was the only thing, I wouldn't be doing this video. But Bernie Sanders, since the election has ended, has continued to work with Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and these people on legislation, on fundraising, on these things. They are not changing their ways, Senator Sanders. So you're working with them, you're legitimizing them on stage in front of 8,000 people. So people are going to remember, come the midterms, come the elections, oh, that Chuck Schumer guy, he's not a bad guy because he's on stage with Bernie. There's other ways of working with them that are not standing on stage with them at a rally and giving. Chuck Schumer has taken more money from Wall Street. Cory Booker has taken more. Chuck Schumer is basically a Republican in Democrats' clothing. I'll give him credit. He's better on social issues. But Chuck Schumer helped push deregulation of derivatives, which helped crash the United States economy and Wall Street. Chuck Schumer is still against reinstating Glass-Steagall. Chuck Schumer has been for every tax break to Wall Street known to man. This is not somebody who is going to help you, Senator Sanders, push through your legislation. Neither is Nancy Pelosi. He's not someone who's going to help get rid of special interests. And whatever they're telling you behind closed doors, it is lip service. And you are in this game long enough to know. In fairness to Senator Sanders, he's been in this game a lot longer than I have. Maybe there's a long game he has, right? Maybe there's a long game. Maybe he's trying to set up Chuck Schumer and the Cory Bookers of the world. And he's playing nice with them now, only to stomp on them like little insects later. Maybe so. And if that's the case, go get him, Bernie. However, the bottom line is a big problem in this country, and politically speaking, Jimmy Dore does a great job of pointing this out in his videos. I don't want to confuse you. the Republican Party and the Republicans, they are worse than the Democratic establishment. You might not agree with me. I believe that. So don't be confused just because I'm railing against the corporate Democratic establishment. The Republicans are like for the working people. They are not. They're extremists who are about to kick 20 million people off health insurance. They want to bring women back to the kitchen. They want to control women's bodies. They want to control, they want gay people just to not be gay. I mean, they're crazy extremists. So do I think Chuck Schumer is better than Ted Cruz? I do. I do. I don't think that's a controversial statement. We cannot look at the world as free as what black and white. So I'll give corporate Democrats, they are a little better. But where the problem is when we ignore that the corporate Democrats economically are corporate shills and bought off. Because the problem in America, and I could tell you because I've been across America now for a year and I see the misery. I see it. And it's not a sexy story to tell. Corporate media, CNN, MSNBC, they don't want to talk about Detroit is a mess. Flint is a mess. East Chicago is a mess. Milwaukee's a mess. Cleveland's a mess. There's messes in places I haven't been yet. They don't want to talk about it because it's not sexy and it won't give them ratings. They don't care about journalism. They care about ratings and revenue. But Bernie, working with these people and standing on stage with these people are the ones, alongside Republicans, keeping working people down, keeping the money funneling to the top. That's who Chuck Schumer is, and he's not going to change. He's not going to change out of his heart, and he's not going to change for political survival. Chuck Schumer is not going to suddenly become a progressive warrior to survive politically, because Chuck Schumer, Cory Booker, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Dick Durbin, Steny Hoyer, I could go on, they're disconnected from what's really going on in America. That's why Hillary Clinton lost. That's why corporate Democrats have lost, in addition to gerrymandering. They're disconnected because they don't surround themselves by struggling working class people. They surround themselves with the cocktail crowd, limousine liberals, who write their checks, keep them in power. But Jordan, that's how the government works, the Hillbots tell me. But Jordan, that's how the system works. Change comes incrementally. No. That's what the corporate establishment tells you to keep you from fighting them. FDR did not work incrementally, folks. Let's just say he took out a certain body part, put it out there, and said, deal with it. He said, I invite your hatred to wealthy people. Because FDR stood on morality and principle. And he was probably, to objective people, one of the greatest presidents of our lifetime. The system does not have to work incrementally, because really incremental change is code for the rich get richer and we'll give crumbs to the working class. That's what incremental and gradualism change means. It means, all right, the system is what it is. We'll keep giving money to the powerful, to the oil companies, to the pharmaceutical companies, to Wall Street, to Silicon Valley, and we'll give crumbs to the rest of the people. And crumbs is incremental change. People need more than crumbs. As Bernie talked about, we got to have a whole loaf, not half a loaf. Oh, somebody's saying, Jordan, what you want is a fantasy. Well, no, I don't think it's a fantasy. I think everybody here has been conditioned to think, really, FDR policies are fantasy. Because for so long, for so many decades, the corporate Democrat and Republican establishment has basically made sure, through being bought off and through socialism for the rich. There is socialism in America. It's for the rich. They have made you think that what I am saying is radical or pie in the sky. Well, bottom line, a reality television star, borderline orange orangutan, just was elected president by promising not to cut Social Security or Medicare, by promising to bring back jobs from overseas, by promising to get out of other countries. Frankly, Trump, he's a con man. I don't think he's going to do any of this. But Trump really promised a lot of progressive policies. Obviously, his stuff about the wall and immigration and Muslims is deplorable. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I'm going to fight Donald Trump. But he promised a lot of progressive things. Are those pie in the sky? He just got elected. These are not pie in the sky things. That's what corporate Democrats and Republicans want you to think, so you will stop fighting for it. Why did California, the state of California, there was just a progressive wave where progressives won local elections in California. They almost swept it. Why did that happen? Yeah, California is a liberal state. We saw progressive candidates win on the local level, even though Bernie did not. These are not radical things. These are not pie in the sky things. But by standing on stage with Chuck Schumer, giving Chuck Schumer, helping him to portray himself and the Democratic leadership as fighting for working people, what Senator Sanders is doing is helping to rehabilitate the broken down corporate Democrat establishment vehicle for them, where they don't have to change their ways. They don't have to stop having fundraisers with oil companies or Wall Street or pharmaceutical companies. Then they're not going to. They're not going to until you make them suffer the consequences. So, am I saying that Bernie cannot do any business at all with Chuck Schumer? Of course not. That's not realistic. But I'll tell you what, I don't think he should be at a rally with Chuck Schumer to save Obamacare. I don't think he should be, doing rallies across the country with establishment corporate Democrats. I don't. You wanna in the halls of Senate work on legislation with them? Go ahead. But when you're visually giving off the optics that these people are with you, Bernie, they're with you on a Sunday in Michigan when it's politically expedient for them to be with you. Will they be with you on Monday night when they're at a fundraiser with Wall Street bankers? No, they won't be, because you wouldn't be caught dead there. Are they with you later in the week when they host conference calls with their donors? The bottom line is there is one thing that's black or white. You cannot, in one breath, fight for working people, and in the other breath, go fundraise and rub shoulders with the people that are stomping on working people. That's why Hillary Clinton is not president. And that's why a reality TV star is, because he conned Americans into thinking he is going to put a stop to the Hillary Clintons of the world. Of course he's not. Look at who he's surrounding himself with. So you could troll me. You could be a troll. You could tell me, you don't like my beard, pie in the sky. But I'm going to keep on saying this because it's the truth. Incremental change is a cop-out. Incremental change is code for we'll give crumbs. We'll give crumbs. Crumbs ain't going to do it, folks. The country's in bad shape. I don't care what the unemployment number says. I don't care what artificial numbers say. I am out there. I see what's going on. People are struggling. It's paycheck to paycheck for most people. And that can't continue. It is not right, this 30-year trend of all the money going to the top, where you watching break your back over and over and over every day and get crumbs. That's not right, and that's not democracy. That's oligarchy. So Bernie, I know you're watching. Not really. I do love you, but take a look at your strategy, because I think in 4 years, if the corporate Democrats take the White House again, part of why is because you helped rehabilitate their message. Now's the time to reverse that trend. Let them rehabilitate themselves. Let them do it the right way by stop taking corporate toxic special interest money. If you're not subscribed, youtube.com/TYTpolitics. Again, youtube.com/TYTpolitics. And you could go like our Facebook, TYT Politics on Facebook. Have a great day, guys.